Start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There is a slight chance I may be called out of the meeting. And if I do, Dave, if you don't mind stepping in. My son has got some medical procedure Wednesday, a surgery, and school might be calling so that we can coordinate what he's got to do when he's out, et cetera. But I think Christina's going to take care of it.
Short term or long term? Which did you decide?
He decided to do the repair.
I have, thank you.
6 months. 6 months.
Okay, we're away.
All right.
He tore his UCL.
Yeah.
And it doesn't affect him in any way, except when he goes to throw. So, yeah, he decided he's gonna go and give it a go and see what happens. So, yeah, that's kind of first major decision he's really had to make in his life.
This kid should be that tough.
Yeah. I don't think I need to talk about Zoom etiquette, but if anyone joins us, I'll open it up for conversation. Do I have everyone seen the meeting minutes from April 7th?
Yes.
If the correction I have, Kim, is I was not at that meeting, so Martin is excused. So I cannot vote.
And we have a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Okay. We got it's Dave and Tom. Dave first, Tom second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. So first topic, John, I think wanted to talk about the senior exemption, or Michelle wanted to talk about the senior exemption. And we thought we'd do that first before we get into the ADUs because
I don't know if anybody, I
short and
think
sweet.
these packets, it just tells numbers wise and how. You want one, Jared?
AMC Jared will be on there. Hi, Jared.
Hi, John. Thank you.
The front page is telling you current things that happened this year when I got the applications.
Thank you.
How many people did not qualify because their income increased in 23. And that's what I had to use for this 25 exemption. So the current limit is 28,899, and that's for a 5% decrease. It's a sliding scale exemption, starts at 20,500 for 50 and below for 50%, up to the 5%. For the 25 roll, I sent out 81 renewals. I received back 70. Some of those people just didn't return the renewal. Some passed away. Of the 70 renewals received, 22 of those were excess income. And then and that was for all three, the school, town, and the county. I had 2 that will receive town and school, but not the county. And 7 that received school only, because that is the higher.
Michelle, could you back up and just
Sure.
give at least me a Cliff
Okay.
Notes version of what we're talking about? This is
This is a
Some
senior
type of-
exemption, the senior low income exemption. The household income cannot be higher than what's stated here on the top.
okay, and they got a break on their assessment
Uh,
and their taxes.
Well, it's an exemption. And with an exemption, you get, say you had $100,000 house, your exemption's 30,000, then you'll be taxed on the 70. That's how an exemption works,
It's a dollar reduction or a percentage reduction?
percentage, depending on their income. Like if you go to the second page, the second page is my proposed amendment to the total, the current town code. On the very bottom is the grid where what it used to be, what I'm proposing after. If you see this is a sliding scale. It essentially adds about 10,000 to income,
You want to raise
the income limit.
the minimum.
Correct.
Why do you want to do that?
Because more people are not qualifying because their income is increasing, but the exemption is not increased.
You want to make more people eligible,
Yeah, it won't.
but by raising the minimum, doesn't make, I don't know if I comprehend this.
This is, so the minimum, like that 30,000, say that originally that 20,500.
Right.
If you make any more than social security,
Yes.
you don't qualify for that full
Oh,
exemption.
I got it now. So the 20,500, if you make
Above
That or
that,
less.
above that,
if
all
you
right,
make
so
above that,
you're
it
raising
takes you
them,
down,
you're raising the limit so that
minimum.
more people
can
qualify.
qualify for
Correct.
it, and it's not a huge number, but it's.
Yeah.
It's those who are, you know,
I just needed
struggling.
that
And as you
clarification.
can see, on the first page, actually, I did do the median income of the renewals that were excess income. The median income was 35,528. I received 12 new senior income applications, 5 of them were excess income. So out of the 12, we gained 7 on the roll, but we lost 20. 20 didn't qualify, but we gained 7 new.
So how many people currently qualify on the 25 rolls under the old system?
Well, I sent out
70
81
minus-
renewals and I got back 70.
And of those 70, 22 were excess income,
Correct.
so it's like 40.
Down a lot, yeah.
Yeah, it sounds
Like,
significant.
I think if we raise the income, it'll even back out.
Right.
If you know what I'm saying.
When was the last time that there was an adjustment made, Michelle? I mean.
I have no idea. If you look to this long paper, this is, every town in the county, their income limits. If they do it or not, you can see some are a lot lower. I, kind of copied the city of Canandaigua because they just increased their limits last year. So I think keeping it in tune with this city is a good idea.
So of the 22 that had excess income, how many of those 22 would qualify under the new law?
All of them.
All of them.
Yeah, but you
You're
can
talking
see,
about people with significantly.
yeah, the renewals that are excess income on this front page, their median income was 35,000.
Yeah.
They're not gonna get the 50%
they'll get some
exemption,
point.
but they will qualify in that graduated sliding scale.
And again, I don't want to get into the weeds, but I'm looking at the second column on the one page. There's a figure and then a one with the SS after. That's social security after.
Sliding scale.
Sliding scale, okay.
Yeah, because if you see, it's on ours, it's
A minute of max then?
correct,
Okay.
correct.
Tell me. Somebody that's, I'm amazed that somebody with flat low income can afford a house. Is that a taxable income, and tell me whether social security is taxable for those people?
Yes. I also included how, there's a couple pages right before the long sheet that has, it tells you how they qualify. This is
Oh, this is
the map,
what they gotta fill out?
well, they don't fill this out.
Oh.
When I get their income tax return, I have to have line 11, and then I add line 2A and 6A, add those together and then subtract line 6B and 4B. You'll see that's all at the bottom here. That's how I have to calculate it. I have a program that does it,
Oh,
but
that's
yeah.
nice.
it's an Excel program, but this is just an example of what I have to use. They don't make it easy to calculate.
Like the system's right.
But it is up to the individual municipalities to pick
Correct.
the thresholds. That's
Correct.
interesting.
Yeah.
You would think it'd be a statewide regulation.
Well, actually, the state minimum or maximum income is like 55,000, and then once you get down into the next paragraph, it says the municipalities can adopt their own.
So over time, as people that are receiving social security, as those numbers have bumped up a few percent a year, average. This hasn't changed.
Correct.
Yeah.
So now all of a sudden they fall out of the.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest complaints that I hear is those.
Yeah.
It's that social security, and if you make anything more. Or if like you have some sort of annuity or something else, you're
Yeah.
out.
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter what you make. I mean, if there's an income threshold limit, however you get your money doesn't matter to me, you know, this is.
No, exactly, but what I'm
Well, no,
saying
but
is,
my point was just. that we-
Penalize this,
Yeah, yeah, it's, no, no, we have not, right?
it's not even, it's just social security disqualifies you from that full
Yep.
exemption.
Well, especially if there's two people.
Right, then that's not right. In my mind, so that's why increasing that limit. I like it because we're in line with the city, we're a little bit more than, I look at Victor, it's a little bit more than Victor. It's quite a bit more than Farmington, I'm assuming Farmington will go through the same thing soon. So,
They encourage people to keep their homes.
And there's really
That, I think that was the original gist of it, so that people could stay in there.
How does this dovetail Star? Anything? Does it?
No, Star is only school tax.
and this is.
You can get this senior exemption though on school and on the school tax. And that limit is on the front page as well.
Percentage wise, does this even have a 1% impact on the
Probably
revenue?
not. I didn't
mean,
figure that, but
It's insignificant.
I saw with the people that didn't qualify because of excess income. And then, you know, it's not adding, it's really, I really have a lot less people on that exemption now because 20 people didn't qualify, so.
Well, this will come up as a resolution for us to.
Yes.
We'll have to set the public hearing first, so if this
Because it's
committee is
really,
good with it, we can do a resolution to set the public hearing at the May 19th town board meeting.
because it's town, this is part of town code. So,
Are there? How does a senior know that this exists?
well, it is on the tax bill.
Oh, it is, okay.
It's on, just like on the tax bill, there is a senior exemption and the veterans exemption, you may, but I also send out a pink postcard, which is called the second notice.
So we, the town knows how many folks. I'm trying to think, somebody that moved here somehow, and let's say inherited a house. How would they know about this? An elderly couple.
As a homeowner, you should be informed about things, but like I sent out, for the star exemption, that's where I get the list to send out those pink postcards. Is the enhanced star exemption list that I have. Cause that means they're already over 65. And then I know they're age eligible, but the next step would be income eligible.
So you don't get a list from the federal government.
No.
of-
I use, like I
There's gotta
said,
be
the
some
star,
fall through
the
cracks.
enhanced star exemption list.
We should put it on the website. Kind of
It's on my page
Yeah,
too.
so I mean, we can
And you can
only
do-
say it so many times.
yeah, we can do outreach. Throw it on there, just once this is done,
Right,
if we
yeah.
pass it, we can put out a thing and saying, listen. Get it in all our favorite news grabbing feeds
I never heard.
that never mess stuff up.
Don't
So-
you get a pink postcard?
It sounds like, is everyone comfortable with this?
Yes.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Yep.
What effect would it have on the revenue side as far as how much, if any, money would the town lose from? Raise it, pumping.
I didn't, that I apologize.
1%.
Right, it's
probably-
minimal,
Oh, yeah.
It probably
it's
gets people
minimal.
back in the program, they're.
It will, but then we lost 20, so if we add 20, it's kind of,
Okay.
and then the exemption's based on their assessment anyways, so. if someone has $100,000 exemption or assessment. Their neighbor has a $200,000 assessment, their exemptions would be different, because it's based on
Yeah, if
your
you
assessment.
think about it, I don't want our tax rate so low as it is, and then.
Right.
The people who are qualifying for these are typically not in the
No,
Yeah.
very expensive houses, so.
right,
Big contributors.
It's not likely a significant amount that this would impact revenue.
But it also impacts school tax. I mean, your overall tax bill will be affected by this.
Yeah, school
Right,
tax,
right,
certainly,
right.
that's a lot higher.
Right, that's a lot higher, right?
And that's where the
So it's
benefit-
significant to people that need the money, right?
Yeah.
We haven't changed our,
The county does.
Yep, it's on the long sheet.
And that's, I think, once this is
The first
done,
column is the county for each town.
Oh.
my hope is, once we pass this, then I can take it to the county and see the discussion will be a little bit different there, because you have a lot of voices who aren't supervisors in towns and don't have that day-to-day interaction with residents and see the impact, but
They did raise the county one. It doesn't look like they did, but they
Yeah.
did a couple of years ago, I think.
I think it's time to kind of recalibrate that with.
how about the school, Michelle, have they changed theirs?
Theirs is actually the highest that we have. Theirs at 29 is the limit.
Is it-
So they rarely increase
You know, like,
income limits
They don't.
for
give-
anything.
And they really,
They
they
do
don't
not
give
offer
many
veterans.
exemptions anyway.
School does not offer veterans exemptions,
This must be the only exemption that they allow for,
that and Star.
yeah, sorry, yeah. No, they don't offer veterans.
No, they're not. Which is surprising to me, but I guess it would cut down a lot on. That's another thing about the senior exemption. Most, I will say 75% of the people that get the senior exemption, they also have a veterans exemption. So they're really, if they lose an exemption, it's huge. Some people don't pay any taxes. They have so many, they have
So many.
You know, they get so many exemptions, but that is. I hate to say it, it's
That's
kind
fair.
of dying down, you know what I mean? Yeah,
Yeah, because they're dying.
right,
Yeah.
right, I don't know how they're, it's.
I'm just.
No one else.
Observation.
You're dropping them.
Not today, Ted.
All right, so I'll put on the
Okay,
May 19th town board meeting to set the public hearing for this. And then June will be the public hearing and the resolution to pass
okay,
or not.
Is there a downside?
no, I don't see one.
Okay.
I think we've been irrelevant, it's not
much.
much.
Yeah.
May.
It's like peanuts, really.
Yeah,
Okay,
all right,
thank you.
you're welcome.
Thank you, Michelle.
Next conversation is ADU law. And my question is, was there a draft law?
Yep.
Was distributed?
Yes. Kim's probably, you're gonna pull up the, oh, it's on that? Yep.
I can't read that.
These screens are terrible.
The questions I had is that the second B down there, lot area is twice the required minimum lot area for the district in which it is located, so in an AR2 area, you would have to have a 4-acre minimum lot size in order to do this. In an AR3, you'd have to have 6 acres minimum. Well, let's say in the AR3, if you got, we really care. I mean, if you got 3 acres, you want to put a house that's no more than 720 square feet next to a, say, a 2,000 square foot house. I mean, is that?
At that point, doesn't matter.
No. I mean, I'm not recommending,
Right.
I just,
Throw
it struck me as I was reading this yesterday that some zoning districts, I mean, you might, well.
I wonder if lot
120.
coverage would cover off on that better than doubling the acreage.
Yeah, R120, yeah, you want to have a bigger,
Right,
unless you can somehow meet, all the setbacks and all, which would be more difficult in a smaller zoning district, but.
For the larger, depending on the size of septic.
Well,
that might be-
that's further down the line, yeah, there's questions there too, because the septic has to be one septic for both units. And
Gotta be sized to it.
so you may need to upsize it, you may need to expand the leach field or a bigger tank.
And the location of the water supply.
Oh, yeah, all that comes into play. That's where this guy is.
Right. You got 100 feet setback from the well. That, again, that is a problem for the
Yeah.
person that's doing it.
But that doesn't really depend on lot size. I mean, if you have to meet all those other, I agree with all those requirements you're just talking about, but what difference does lot size make? If you're, you know, as long as you meet the setbacks and all the other things.
You're not gonna be able to do it anyway.
Right.
You're not gonna be able to do it on the 20,000 or the 30.
Right.
But anything over 2 acres.
Well, you could, if you were in an R120, let's say, but you have 4 acre lot in the R120 district,
You correct.
then you're okay, but I don't know how often that occurs or if there's, but
Yeah.
Is everyone of the same opinion that it ought to be based on lot coverage?
Does that make it more complicated?
In a sense of how do you want it? Like, do you just want shall not exceed the lot coverage, or do you want double the lot? I guess what's the solution?
I just
Shall not
point out the
exceed.
problems. I don't come up with. any.
So like, what I'm thinking is like you could just have it as. We just allow it in every lot that meet the minimum requirements. And then we just handle it with the standard setbacks for, well, same lot coverage. I recall from, I think it was 2 meetings ago we talked about this, 2 or 3.
It was, yeah.
The reason why we went with twice the required minimum lot was the RLD areas. You were 10,000 square foot or 20,000 square foot in those lots. Where, yeah, if you meet the lot coverage and building coverage, the setbacks you're taken care of. But I think, and I don't want to speak for committee, but I think it was a congestion issue.
You think what?
I think it was a congestion issue. Excuse me, the last time we spoke.
But you wouldn't be able to in those areas, put a, Second.
Lot coverage, yeah.
you know,
But does that open, you might, I mean, does that open up new problems like?
well,
Is the lot both sides of the road, are we talking both sides of the road, are we talking? Then we get into permeable pavement and then we get into, can you do those other things to mitigate some of that? Is it gonna create other problems that we want to
You've
avoid?
seen that in zone.
Well,
Accommodating small lots.
we didn't generally give exemptions because of permeable pavers. That only helped the conversation from the owner's perspective, but most of the time we didn't consider that because permeable pavers are not to be considered. The way things are written in our code now.
But bisected lots could factor into it significantly. If you've got a lot, you know, upland from where you are on the lake, and you say, well, that's part of my lot coverage. I mean, that to me is a problem. Even if you meet the other setbacks.
Lot coverage where though? On the
So if you
lakefront
take a
or on the
bisect-
uplands?
Yeah, if you take a bisected lot,
Yeah.
you're trying to put it one spot or even closer to the lake. And you're not gonna get you're not even gonna come close to lot coverage if you have significant on the other side of the road.
But you're still gonna have setback requirements.
Right, but you can still meet those setback requirements, but your lot coverage could be significant on a lakeside portion. See what I'm saying?
Didn't we,
No, I don't.
didn't we,
To be honest.
didn't we change that recently?
We did, I can't remember what we did with
We did.
bisected lots.
Help me understand, Dave, because
So
I don't.
if you had an acre, you know, but it's bisected by Westlake Road.
Yeah,
And then you had a little spot on the lakeside.
Yeah.
You could put something there if you met all the setbacks from your neighbors, but you'd be covering most of that lot, either setback either side.
on the lakeside.
On the lakeside, you could put a house there, as long as you met the 10 feet, right?
Just let me ask you a question about that. Didn't we put a percentage?
We did, since we talked about
On the
bisected
lakeside?
lots. Yeah, I can't
Yes.
remember what we did.
50%, yeah.
So.
So that might not be a moot point, yeah.
Yeah, we solved that issue.
I think we did too. But we put the maximum amount of lot coverage on the lakeside
Right.
parcel.
Right.
Or portion of the parcel.
Right,
And we can take out that twice the required minimum lot area, it wouldn't change.
yeah,
It would still have to comply with.
All the other setbacks.
Yeah, home setback requirements, lot coverage, building coverage, et cetera. Yeah,
Everyone comfortable with that? After we
Yes.
talked it through?
Okay, I do have a thought on, again, on C, starting with the third line shall meet the setbacks for the principal structure in the respective zoning district of the parcel. Isn't that a given?
Wait a minute, where are you?
E,
The old C, new D.
Oh,
or new E, new E.
New E.
New E?
You're
Oh,
right,
sorry,
the new
wrong
E. I'm sorry, I thought that was a C.
Here, you want these two?
can you relook it?
so it's not a given,
It's not.
it's not, can we just go back real quick, are we on agreement to remove it, B? in
Yes.
its entirety?
I think so.
Sorry. So it's not because the way that our zoning schedule is set up. It would require altering all of our zoning schedules.
This
To,
one.
yeah, to include accessory dwelling units as a setback. So right now, it just says single family dwelling. Which an accessory dwelling unit is, but it's not. So to alleviate that conversation, we put this in there to cover us across the board without having to do a rewrite of our entire
I
schedule.
thought any structure, including what would become a detached accessory structure, would have to meet our zoning in regard to setbacks.
Yes, but no.
Well,
That's how I see it, that's how you see it, but
okay,
we foresaw people having an argument saying, no, this is now,
I think it's a clarification
exactly,
intent.
yes.
Okay, Tom, so you're talking about item E?
Yes, what it, see, I thought it was a C.
Yeah.
But yeah. Starting with shall, I just thought it were being redundant, but it's already given in zoning. But I can see Mike's reason for
Yeah.
further clarification.
Yeah,
We're being redundant.
Because you're talking
Yes.
about the detached accessory structure
yep,
instead of all structures, which is what I'm thinking of, which would already be covered by the zoning.
okay.
How we got further than this in the March meeting. I thought we already went through this.
We,
I
we
thought
were
we
on
were,
zoning districts and then.
now we got through size. So I remember talking about the size of the. To our meeting, which is the next section.
Are we looking for more commentary?
Yes, please.
On the second page, number 7. It's
What's it called? What's the title?
utility service. Should we make any comment in regard to septic sizing? Or is that a given if we're adding another?
That is a given
Sorry,
because the last sentence there, should the site be subject to chapter 202, that is our septic or on-site wastewater.
So let me ask the question. Why would we want to limit it to only one utility service?
I don't get
Each
that
of
either.
those.
I don't get that. either.
If a customer, let me say, if a resident wanted to build an accessory structure, an ADU. And he wanted separate utilities for that ADU, why wouldn't we allow that?
So that was in consultation with our water and sewer side. As far as documentation, billing and everything else. It would be easier for them for one water meter, which is, yes, we say electrical and gas, that was just an ease. To bill out one water meter as opposed to 2 for one problem. For setup and everything else on the back end.
I think part of the discussion was also to make it more difficult for the next owner to subdivide that off.
Correct.
Mhm.
It makes us.
And I guess we had to decide whether we were in favor of it. The ADU becoming a separate standalone lot ultimately.
But if they wanted to do that, they could go to the zoning board and apply for that anyway, just
Yeah.
put a separate utility in, so I don't know that. I mean, to me, this doesn't make, I mean, why do we care?
Because
I still don't get why we care.
It maintains that the ADU is subordinate to the principal structure.
But if someone wanted to separate the two lots later on down the road, if they had the appropriate setbacks and
Lot size.
met all of our ordinances, what do we care if they sub? If they,
Well, so then at that time, they would go through, get something to it.
but if someone was ingenuitive enough to want to go and bring the utilities right now individually to both of the structures, I don't know why we would care except for the ease of the billing maybe.
We've already addressed the minimum house size or minimum detached structure
Yeah, 720.
is in agreement with single family home.
Right.
So we've already addressed that issue.
Right.
Yeah.
Then does that open the issue of if somebody comes in and they're like, okay, we want separate sewer, we want one septic, but we want individual water and electric.
Which then
Does that
opens-
create a problem? I'm
which-
just throwing it out.
So the reason why is because then it opens up, okay, do you get 2 sewer district charts? Do you get 2 water district charts? Do you get 2 this, do you get 2 that?
Right.
Whereas if it's one service, you get 1. That's it.
But if you have 2 services, then you would get 2 charges. I mean, I don't, that's black and white.
You'd think so, but it's not,
Well, how is it not?
the way that's written. It's based off parcels. Not services.
So let's take a place that is being constructed that has sewer. We're gonna run one sewer line to the main structure and then run a sewer line from the
One service. So the service is the
Right.
actual tap
one service.
for sewer. With water, your service is what you hear.
And
Well, it's
Yes.
easier, I mean, if you have sewer, I mean, that's not as big a deal as if it's a septic system.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you just, another line coming in and,
well, it would be if someone wanted to subdivide later on.
Then that
well,
creates
then that expenses end up then. But we wanted to try to prevent that. That was one of the arguments that we had was that we don't want this to be an avenue for, you know.
Now, so somebody
that kind
coming in and subdividing off, we don't want it to be a back end,
of-
an end around.
Yeah.
Or popping off.
Yeah, in the March, I know it was discussed in the March, we came to the decision, because there was a lot of that going on. What if they subdivide this, what, you know, can we help them if they want to subdivide? And it was ultimately decided that we can't even, like, this isn't for subdivision, so we should be looking at this as strictly ADU purposes and how it benefits the ADU law, not really looking at, well, how will it work if somebody decides to subdivide? Because you can't account for every situation. And then that's on them if they do want to.
And that's why I think.
That's why we moved that. That's why there was a discussion about the whole 10 feet and we are gonna make it a maximum, or you guys talked about making it a lot further away so that they could subdivide in the future. It ultimately came back to the 10 feet because we stopped really discussing it in terms of what if they subdivide.
It's not making it easier to subdivide, it's making it easier to add an accessory structure for whatever purpose. Whatever purpose that would be. And in that regard, I support the one unit, one in, one utility and one everything in. Because again, it's not. Our intent was to tackle the accessory dwelling. Not if they want to subdivide that. Cause I think that just opens up the.
So if you
Pandora
wanna have
box.
2 electric services, let's say, can you go to the zoning board and apply for that?
Yes, this is in zoning.
I'm sorry,
This is in zoning, so yes.
so you could do that.
So you
So
get,
the avenue is still there if they wanted to do that.
Well,
Just gonna add time to the project.
well, it's, I mean, if somebody wants to do that down the road, a second owner or something. They have that ability to do that.
Or if
I
you
mean, if
wanna
they
take-
have the land.
You didn't wanna pay grandma's air conditioning bill, you know what I mean? That's.
Well, you can still do that. I mean, you can give her the money, let her pay the bill, you know, I mean, it's not.
But with one service, it's,
Right, it's hard.
Well, it's,
yes.
oh, you would be paying for it then.
Yeah, I guess if there's an avenue to do two, then I'm okay with
But
that.
you say there's an avenue to do it, but there truly isn't, because zoning is gonna look and say, we don't allow this. And they're not gonna go unless there is some really significant reason why someone would wanna do that. they're not gonna approve it. It's no different than a height restriction, right? I mean, we don't want it in the town, so they're not gonna approve it. So the person really doesn't have to. And then I would have to say, why not? Why wouldn't we want people to have separate electric or separate utilities? Especially the sanitary.
I think
Because-
the reason is if you wanted to split the two apart, if you want to subdivide,
Yeah,
then you'd want that. But
However-
the whole idea behind this was to prevent things like not give an end around opportunity. So there is a mechanism where they can come in, they go to the zoning board, and the zoning board says no, they say no. They say yes, they say yes. It's,
but what about a property owner, Terry, that has, let me say, the wherewithal to do it? And they're saying to themselves, okay, my mom is 95 years old, she needs a separate place to live. But I want to set it up so that when my mom dies in a few years, and I know that I want to relocate or move out because I don't need this bigger property. What would be wrong with that person setting it up and designing it such that they could go and make their property more valuable for when they do want to sell it by subdividing?
Or if it becomes a long-term rental, then it's convoluted with the electric meters. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, you gotta, how do you decide that?
Right. I mean, I don't think we're kind of restricting someone from being creative thinking and planning ahead.
that creative thinking and planning ahead. Another way to express it is finding a way around what we're trying to.
Yeah, and there's, no good deed goes unpunished. We have to always remember that,
So
so.
I mean, that's,
And then I worry too about we talked about the number of the preponderance of short-term rentals growing, taking houses off the housing market. And that's why we're trying to do this as well, give an opportunity for a place to live. I just worry about opening up other avenues to lose that and it separate.
But with a short-term rental, electric service doesn't, I mean, septic or sanitary has a big effect, but electrical have no effect. Because they're gonna charge so much that they'll pay the electrical, they don't care. So I don't think that
But
addresses
I think
this.
that's,
How often is
no,
something
but
like this?
that's just that's the symptom, that's just kind of part of it, that's not the overall issue of that parcel then turning into a short-term rental.
Well, let's say that is someone's long-term thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just say it's me for an example. I built an accessory dwelling unit for my mom. I know she's old and at some point she's gonna move on, right? And I'm gonna use it as a short-term rental. What's wrong with that kind of thinking?
That's
I mean, I gotta do something with it. I can't let it just sit
Right,
there and be
right.
vacant
I-
after my mom passes away. So if I plan ahead and I say, okay, I want separate utilities because it is gonna be a short-term rental, why would we be opposed to that? That's, I guess, my thinking,
well, you do also drive
Or
up
it
the
could be a
initial
long-term.
cost.
or it could be a long-term rental.
I mean, it's much more expensive to do separate everything.
Well,
So, I mean, if people choose that
I
way,
mean-
I don't understand why we would care.
Me either, in the same place.
I would
Have we
wonder
thought
how
about whether
often
the
something like
utilities
this would
care?
present itself.
I mean,
Well, they might, and that might end the discussion right there, right,
I was gonna
right.
say,
I'm
you
sorry,
might
that's not,
have-
does it cost the town actually to install two separate water meters and?
Sure, but
And-
why wouldn't we charge them?
Because
for
their
that?
meters are up at the structure, and anything between the main and the structure is essentially unmetered. If they have a leak or some sort of problem with that, that's on them. So now they got two services. They have to worry about whether one can go better. So it may not, utilities might say, no, we want one. So
They might.
Which is where it came from, the town needs waters.
And Jim.
That was the initial basis.
Yeah.
Get into the whole thing with like the Bristol Canandaigua Water District, well, what's a unit, what's a parcel, because now if you're running two water meters to one parcel, does that change what, I guess.
What would Jim Fletcher want? Two services, two?
He wants one.
Yeah,
Because again, from what you were saying, it's based on, if I have, this is my property, it's a parcel number, water and sewer bill based on parcel number.
Yeah.
That's the tax map, based on tax map and everything else. So if I have house one And now if I have accessory dwelling and I have two services in there, it's now two services going
There's-
to,
That can mess up the whole.
going to one parcel.
There's a reason why most apartment buildings nowadays, all of them within our district, is a single service meter. For that exact reason.
They single service, do they have, if they come in with a single service, they still have the opportunity to put a. Is there the
No,
ability
You
to
can't
put a
charge for
sub?
water. You can't charge for water.
No, to put it, if they come in with a, they run one service and boom,
Not from the town.
but they could meter it.
They could, yes.
So they still have the ability, and the whole point we're talking about is the ability to meter, right? Be able to charge,
Yeah.
except for
I'm not
selling
the water
out.
guy, but I've run into this 20
Yeah.
years ago. You can't charge someone for water.
Who is you?
Wait a minute.
The owner?
I pay
I
for
paid
water.
for
I
it.
can't separate it out like 4 different units and then charge each person
Really?
individually.
Why
Well,
not?
that's a, I don't know why, but that's, we couldn't do it. Well,
You-
we've got one right over here on Snow Hill.
The rent.
I can tell you can.
Yeah,
You become a junior
So-
utility, then.
Yeah.
So what, so you can charge anything you want.
Yeah, but if you were charging more, your tenants would have a really good argument to go to court and say, I'm being charged more.
But you're maintaining that water line, so there's maintenance involved in
I see
that.
your argument for it, so I go back to, we're going through a project right now that's a large. Manufactured development. We'll treat it like their apartments, right? It was clearly told them, no, you're gonna get one service, because for us to go through with one parcel, split it up into 200 different meters and billing and everything else, no. You're gonna have one master meter, and what you do from then on, it's up to you. But also then you have the added cost of maintenance, you have the added cost of if there's issues. You have the minimum service requirements, or minimum charge requirements, excuse me, that are tacked onto there. So that's really where it all comes into. If you have one, it's simple across the board, we don't have to look at anything else, we don't have to change anything else.
I'd leave it alone, and if it becomes an issue, then address it,
Leave it as it's written.
and address it.
I'm comfortable.
Becomes a problem.
I see the issue, I see.
I
the
can't see this
potential,
becoming a huge issue.
Right.
but it might be a one-off.
And ultimately, again, getting back to your concern. You can, if you, down the road, you know, mom's gonna head for Boot Hill. You can build it in such a way that you can subdivide it at some point.
You could,
Yeah,
I could bring the services there, I just wouldn't connect them.
you plan ahead,
Right.
say, you know. I'm gonna sell this off if and when.
Yeah.
So the individual property owner
Still has that ability,
can
think ahead and,
foot
yeah,
the bill initially when they do it.
has that ability. And we also learned that Dave needs to figure out his water billing, it's, it sounds like you missed out on a few years of water. dude.
There's 3 people on a service.
He's calculating right now.
Yeah, so you might wanna take a step out.
It's the city though.
All right, yeah.
Okay, moving on then, all right? Where were we?
Number 7 on page 2. Is where we were.
Utility service. is what we were.
It's a no-brainer for any attached one. Detached is what we're gonna do. Single service.
Number 10.
How about 8?
Oh, okay. Don't go ahead, talk.
We're determining parking spaces by the number of bedrooms. And I have to ask a question, do we do that with regard to the main structure?
We do not.
That just seems a little restrictive to me. But I don't know, how's everyone else feel about it?
I think parking is always a problem, so I think that we need to somehow figure that, whatever the number is, I think I want that in some law somewhere.
Well, I agree that if you're gonna have an additional accessory dwelling unit, we should have an additional parking space. I don't argue that, but if it's 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom, do I need 2 or 3 parking spaces?
That's,
Well, I don't
that sounds
think
more like
I
a
think you need 2.
short-term rental mindset,
Yes.
which is, if you have an accessory apartment. Probably, you know, with 3 bedrooms, grandmas might not be driving. Or if you have kids living in there, you might have a whole bunch of kids under, they're not driving.
They're not driving.
This feels more like it's driven by the short-term rental
Yeah.
aspect, which,
Agreed.
So keep it as one and then get rid of the rest.
We can take it out entirely.
Well, I just put one additional parking space for the ADU.
That's right, yeah.
Okay,
So I got. Shall
Really?
provide one additional, I'm just typing this out.
Just take out.
parking space for an accessory dwelling unit, period,
There's one or
right?
two bedrooms.
Yeah, just take out the.
Everything after the red dwelling unit.
Got it. Shall provide one additional off-street parking space for an accessory.
Yeah,
They also-
right. so,
Ready to change?
That-
Michelle,
Did you have anything for 9 there?
Yeah.
I know you were gonna check with the county.
It would, if there was an ADU on the parcel, it would be site 1 and site 2. So then I could distinguish to what actual site is getting the exemption, for example.
Do we need that in there at all?
I don't.
So just remove 9 entirely?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, how would you, I mean, if this applied to the ADU, you couldn't enforce, I don't think we should enforce that. If I've got a place that my parents live in and they are under 35,000, I shouldn't get a tax benefit.
No, it would be based on that ADU unit. I would have, if someone, like, for example, you put in an ADU, your main house
Right,
would be
right.
site 1, and then the ADU would be site 2. And that would have its own assessment and everything.
So would there be two tax bills then? Be one tax bill, but just two different lines,
So they want to
Yeah.
say too, kind of like
One
an
in site
accessory
2.
structure type of thing, yeah.
and the other one would be based on
The full.
the inhabitants' personal
Right, correct,
financial
correct.
background.
Alright, I gotta remove the request to Michelle.
So you build one of these,
But I mean, who knows if that's, I just think this whole thing, they're all gonna turn into short-term rentals. And there's only
What?
one person in this whole town that is requesting it. We even move on this law, so I didn't understand all the time we're taking.
what, an ADU thing? you mean?
Mhm.
Oh. Well, thank you. Can we get the time back?
So just hit delete. What did you just hit delete?
delete 9.
Delete it.
Delete the whole thing. Yeah, but 9's getting deleted.
9's deleted, alright, that's all I did.
Want to talk about 10?
Can I?
10, yes, the heading is exterior appearance and access or attached accessory dwelling units, and then the third line under A, we talk about the appearance of a single family detached driving dwelling. Well, that just seems to be contradictory. Why don't we take out detached? Should
Where do
we
you
like
Legislative permits.
Where do you see detached?
A under A.
Single family detached dwelling.
Dwelling.
Yeah. We're talking,
I-
in the heading, we're talking about an attached accessory dwelling, and then we define it using detached.
I see what you're saying.
Yep.
Alright.
They gotta be that,
Yep.
I think, yeah.
We make things too confusing. Nobody's getting more
What's
confusing.
the right one?
Right.
Third page. Nobody wants anything else.
I don't see anything else on this.
Why do we need item D? Isn't that a given with anything?
Which one are you talking about here?
Third page, item D, variances waiver.
No, you have to include it in each chapter.
You got it?
You have to identify who the board is or the entity that would issue.
Not anything is code, if you disagree, you gotta go to zoning.
Some stuff you go to the town board, some stuff you go to planning board, some stuff
Okay.
you just go to my office,
Okay,
so.
it's trying to make it easy.
I know, no, yeah,
Simpler.
it's one of those we copy and paste every time we do new sections. So,
Any other comments about this?
Does the ZBA issue waivers? They issue variance. I don't know why you.
Issue
use-
variances.
Yeah, I don't know why you use the word waiver. Just, a variance is a form of waiver, but
yeah, that's just the terminology that we
And I-
have. That's,
I'd be consistent use.
What about the Nadler advice?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, did we end up getting anything from
no,
It's C2.
sorry, that kind of fell to the file and wait for. I'll reach back out. Basically, what that section was, is we have a lot of these that are existing illegally. And how do we write this in where those have a pathway to become legal? So
So you just said, can you repeat that one more time?
we have a lot of these that are already existing illegally,
Marked up.
and we're trying to find a way to make a pathway to have those become.
You mean accessory dwelling units?
Yeah,
I was,
We do?
I would suspect mostly attached, right?
No.
Attached.
Absolutely not. Majority are detached.
Really?
You drive down Sandy Beach. Poplar, there's two.
That's the solution.
Are you the short-term rentals?
Oh,
for
yeah.
the most part, though.
Yeah.
So what is the difference between an ADU and a short-term rental? The person in the ADU has to be related to you? What's the difference?
So an ADU is a short-term rental, but all short-term rentals. Now, so the structure itself is the question, not the use. The structure, a lot of them were built as just detached garages. And then we drive by and it's, whoa, wait, when did that go in? And you're looking at plumbing, and you're looking at electrical, and you're looking at everything else. And, well, that was 20 years ago.
Exactly,
Well,
that's what I do.
exactly.
and they're not on the books.
And they're not.
So
on the
how do we
books.
figure it
They're
out?
not- this would provide a legal pathway to say, okay, within 1 year of the effective date of this chapter or section, you can apply for a certificate of occupancy, or you shall apply for it.
Otherwise, you'll be sent to El Salvador.
Well, I think that you really want to have that because maybe it was constructed in an unsafe manner, not according to code, building code, so down the road, we could be on the hook for anything that might happen there.
You wouldn't be on a hook. no.
Well, I mean, there's a lawyer who would take the case, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
oh, yeah. It's one of those where this just provides a pathway for those people that want to maintain these, a pathway to.
So
That already have,
What happens if they don't, though?
within 1 year. That's kind of where I was going with that. Is like, is this 1 year? Why are we doing it? They're in violation. They should have to conform the entire chapter. But that's what.
Cause what do we do about them now, if, without this code in place and they're.
I'm being worked for the next 3 months.
How many situations are there?
Like this, I'd say more than 20.
Well,
I mean, you can tell clearly from the exterior. Right, like,
my comment regarding this paragraph is, why do you change verbiage and call it an apartment towards the bottom? As opposed to leaving it an accessory structure.
According to what.
Probably just forgot
that
that.
was just,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
That
a
was-
revision of the apartment.
When I wrote this entirely, I had accessory apartments for detached and accessory dwelling units for
Yep.
attached, and Sarah
So that's
was like,
just,
you're making it.
just a
So,
grammatical thing.
Yep,
So how are you gonna get in there? Be sure they're.
so this was kind
Oh,
of our
that's,
hope.
yeah, that's the problem.
Was when this, when this went out, they would come in and say, hey, yeah, I wanna get this now. Like, okay, cool. Let's go through the whole process. Because we don't have access rights. I mean, I'll be really honest, I got called, we had a tree hit one of these, fire department called me out. And I'm like, I have this down as a garage that was built in the sixties. This has been renovated probably 3 times and someone's living up here. And at that point, then it's a unsafe occupancy, an illegal occupancy, an unsafe structure. And now we're dealing with all that. But this will provide them a pathway. Again, it's one where, yeah, I really need to reach out to the handler to get clarification.
So I was hoping that people just, they've been, operating something illegally for so long now, they're like, oh, okay, now I can actually make it legal.
So are you gonna
Because-
send letters to everybody suspect?
We get them on to.
I don't know.
No,
I
it's,
don't know how's this process gonna work?
Yeah.
If you're gonna give them a year to comply, how are they gonna know?
when it gets brought up to them that they're not in compliance.
So we really would need to have a complaint
Yes.
for that to happen.
Which I can guarantee you, once this law goes into effect and certain people start doing it by the book, you are gonna get a ton of complaints on this.
Yes.
And it's gonna be endless. I mean, the same thing happened with short-term rentals, the same thing happened with the detached accessory structures, then we've taken some limitations off on those in the RLB. Every time we update a code, the phones don't stop ringing because someone is complaining because now they're doing it legally and this person's had it. So. That's
You
just-
could
In the
avoid,
end, you can't, like you said, you can't obtain search warrants to walk in
Right.
and
Well,
verify.
that's the same with me.
That's what we can, but it's never been done
No.
with me.
I don't think you'll get a
Yeah.
permits for
I've been-
a code violation.
Right. Administrative search warrant, it's right in the law, it's in there.
That being said, why give them a year?
Truth be told, it was pulled from another town's code. And we were trying to give a pathway to come into compliance as opposed to straight tear it down, here's your violation, have to pay.
Well, if you think about it, how long to get onto the books, to get a meeting, to be able to go through the process, I mean, I guess it could take potentially up to a year to even get through the process.
We should see what Nadler says.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the important thing, right?
So-
Where are we?
It sounds like we've done as much as we can do. We need Nadler's input.
and that, yeah.
And then we probably ought to have it come back to committee again, just to see what he has to say before we recommend it to the board.
I mean, if everyone else is good on everything, the only other thing that we were still discussing was, are we allowing this in all zoning districts? That was really the big conversation from the last meeting, was is it just across the board, all zoning districts? With the exception of CC where it's not allowed. Where dwellings are. But that was the only real thing left open tonight.
I thought we decided all.
That's item B on the first page. Section.
Well, is it all zoning districts or zoning districts for
Residential.
housing?
It's
Is
all
residential?
residential.
So commercial would
Exempts it right away,
not
right?
all
Right.
districts. It's all districts where we allow.
Yep.
Residents.
I think that would be, we would put all residential
Yeah,
zoning districts. Not all zoning.
Yeah, it would be where located on properties in zoning districts where single family residential is. That's exactly how it would. If that's the way that. you wanna go.
I think that was our discussion.
yeah.
So if everything other than that one section is good, we can at least get it on to set the public hearing while we're waiting for that, because then it can still change at any point.
But that keeps us on track.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's good. I think that's a good idea.
Set the public hearing, May.
Section B now reads ending. Located on properties in zoning districts where single family dwelling is included.
Sounds good.
And just growing from May. Be there all night.
Okay, Next question is, for our next meeting in June, we're gonna talk about form-based code.
Yes, we should have, we got Sarah, Jared and I. Need to have a meeting, and I can't remember, were you on the first meeting? Yeah, and Mike, but we gotta set a meeting up. We've been waiting for Jared to come back from this lengthy vacation. And,
Somebody pointed out the other day you were back.
Yeah, it was shorter than us guys.
Do you think we should
We can
elevate
finish it.
sidewalk maintenance? Because that's gonna, I mean, winter's coming at us again. I mean, we have sidewalks we've got to do something with. And we're gonna have more sidewalks that we're gonna have to do something with,
I
just to
think,
try to get that.
and we have a policy, we never adopted it in the code, and I think that's. Seems simple if you agree with the policy, which is the property owner maintains the sidewalk.
It's a little rougher if you take County Road 10 coming from Creekview all the way to Spring Valley Gardens. That's a long sidewalk that, I mean, I don't know. I hear what you're saying, but it seems.
Can I just give some input on that?
Sure.
So what I can tell you is in the city of Geneva, which 2 of your code officers served in, you had a sidewalk maintenance as far as snow and mist clearing. It was a great chapter, it was a great section for some properties, i.e. your commercials, where it's given. Then once codes started handing out violations, and we would do about 200 after every single snow event. And the city manager's phone is ringing off the hook, and DPW director. It wasn't so great. And we were
Against
told
the new
strictly
law.
to stop.
City.
Well,
It's a new law. I mean,
yeah, I thought the discussion here though was the town maintaining the sidewalks.
That's what I was thinking. We were
Yeah.
looking at some amount of sidewalks that we were gonna make.
I took it as we were starting enforcing.
No,
I don't think we should do that.
This is,
That's
like,
I wanted to put that out there first.
this is trying to figure out County Road 10, this is trying to figure out all the new uptown sidewalks.
Right.
And the belief that if we're putting in sidewalks. And requiring it as part of our complete streets, then we really need to look
But
at
North Road as well.
maintaining them, the North Road sidewalk
Right.
connect.
Those are rolling out.
But is
pretty
that
fast.
really in the purview, of the ordinance committee?
Right, it's just a policy, or do we just have a policy? Ordinance would be if you have a sidewalk in front of your house and you're not taking care of it,
We're gonna
then
fine
you're out of compliance with that ordinance. This is just a policy of, if we can come into an agreement that, yeah, we need to, if we put a sidewalk in, if we require a sidewalk, it's probably about time that we step up and take care of it. Cause I don't wanna mandate sidewalks and then say, oh yeah, homeowner, now you have to take care of this. And if you don't, we're gonna fine you.
So are you talking about
Again,
with Uptown
what's the-
Landing?
What's the downside?
Of us maintaining
No,
sidewalks?
no, the downside is it's expensive.
Right,
And you also assume the liability for failure to appropriately maintain it. When I was a kid, we used to make a quarter. We're shoveling off the gal next door to.
Yeah.
Because I lived in the city and the city said you had to clear the
Right.
sidewalk in front of your house. And. It was a municipal regulation and presumably you were responsible for not maintaining it. And one of the lawyers on TV would sue you because you didn't keep your sidewalk clean.
But are you talking,
Isn't that?
Yeah, it's the same as our roads, so I mean, we're also, we're,
but this is more, this isn't like, I don't think we're talking about. Stablegate sidewalks.
Right.
We're talking about sidewalks along roads, sidewalks along main roads, not within that.
Like take big lots, there's a sidewalk in front of big lots that's never cleared, ever.
Right.
yeah,
So
super weird.
what do we do with that?
well,
I
yeah,
think it's the responsibility of owning the shopping center.
Right,
I would think the abutting property owner would be responsible, but I,
Never,
again. And does the municipality, by having a rule that says that, shift responsibility and potential liability for not doing so?
I think it's the same as the roads, because like for North Road, we had discussed, we'd be taking care of that. We're putting that in.
I
For
think we
safety.
said we would maintain
We said
that
we would
to-
maintain
to the
that.
people that own those properties along the
Because
way.
that was a concern, and it's a little bigger than your, it's bigger than your traditional sidewalk. The North Road, it's wider, it's larger. But then I think of Uptown, and the main, so the main, say the main corridor going through there, that main bend, that would be, I see that as an us maintain, as you get to the side roads. Maybe something that goes to a cul-de-sac, and any of the side roads that are just homes, then that's, you're self-maintained, so it's how do we delineate the roads that we now take care of? You know, any roads connecting down to 332. Sidewalks on 332, things like that.
I would say we physically have to name those. I mean, they would
Yes.
have to be named, not just like some policy. It would have to be like, this is going to be maintained by the town.
Yeah, cause the only thing I can see with that is like, okay, Middle Cheshire Road, it's not a sidewalk, but it's
a trail.
still a bus path, it's not gonna be.
You know, you don't maintain
Like if you
that.
just went through and you said transmission roads or something, is how we classify those?
Yeah.
Across the board.
Yeah.
But if it's a policy, I don't really.
And then we name those, and you know, and it could be, these are new, they're not pre-existing, so
Right.
new sidewalks, and then we have a sidewalk policy that the following roads will be maintained by the town, North Road.
Whatever
The
you decide.
others, yeah.
Uptown Landing in that whole area originally, we're gonna have a
The bid,
bid. And bid was gonna take care of it. We bought that.
yeah,
We bought the equipment to do that.
that was
And I
just
know
the
when we
business.
said we'd take care of North Road, the intent was to use that piece of equipment to do it, using one of the highway guys or park guys, somebody. But,
But that wasn't the
How far do you
housing,
carry
that
that?
wasn't the housing area, that was the business.
right,
strips.
just you know, just that, yeah.
But that's
But-
most of the part that we would wanna maintain, other than once it gets into the residential, they're on their own.
Well, they should be, and,
Right.
and I would question also some of the,
But it's.
getting them out to 332 so they can go to tops or. Some of that, to me, should be maintained by that bid, although we don't have a bid really, I mean, we have paper, we do, but we don't.
Right,
We need to
So
get
that whole area is kind of murky still.
yeah,
Well, I think
Really?
there's multiple areas throughout the town that are murky like that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good example, but County Road 10 is another good example. I mean, who maintains that sidewalk?
right,
Nobody right now.
nobody, but that's across,
Right, but we should. I mean, there's people walking on that all the time.
yeah, that's the
Creekview
Creekview.
all the way down, like Creekview.
No, but then it crosses, then it leaves Creekview and it goes in front of McAlpin, it goes in front of the coffee place, it goes in front of Aldi.
Yeah.
All the way down Spring Hill Nursery, it goes all the way down there. So then what do you do?
Well, the reason that you have to,
It's the front, whoever.
that there's a need to do something is because Creekview was built.
Right,
So you could make the argument it's
we could,
Creekview.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're
Well,
gonna
it might
go out
have
and
that
make
side.
But that
it some
argument,
of it.
maybe that train's maybe already left the station, how do we go back? if that's the case?
It was a condition of approval that they ultimately put it in, right?
Yeah.
All the way to the
Yeah,
commercial
Yeah.
area.
part of phase two.
Yeah, that was part of phase two, right?
Yeah, there was no condition to have.
of maintenance.
Don't take,
But Tom already offered to go shovel for a quarter.
That's what I
I
heard.
know.
Per property, right?
It's bad,
No matter the
it's
size.
worse.
Per property,
but how, what,
50 cents.
50, we'll give you
does
50.
Creekview have maintenance people on site to take care of the,
They have to
Yes,
for the
they do.
internal.
their?
Yeah.
Well, why can't they plow it or whatever?
That's for their benefit.
So the sidewalks and the road within. You know, Creekview has a dedicated road, so even we plow the dedicated road,
They don't-
they only plow the parking lots. So even the sidewalks, they'll take care of the areas within the parking lot, but nothing on that gate.
Well, I mean, it's just more expense for the town. How do you get that money back? You know, I mean, does everybody have to pay for it through their taxes? You know, or is it just whoever is, you know? Creekview.
Make sidewalks.
And what we're gonna hear is, why should I pay for taxes that plow
No,
Parkview?
Sidewalk
It's more than
special
just
Terry,
that.
that's what I heard from you.
Salt, I mean, they salt, well, yeah.
Well, I mean, you start getting, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Misalignments, now somebody trips.
Is it all paved now or no?
What?
From Creekview? to-
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not, they did it. No, it's actually-
I think this conversation illustrates how it's probably not the purview of the ordinance committee to
Mhm.
address this.
yeah,
Well, if you want to leave it the
We
way
need-
it is, yeah.
I think we just need to discuss internally
Something goes wrong.
and then make a policy
Right.
and present it either by policy or by resolution or put it in our, you know, adopt it annually in our policies and name roads. I like Dave's idea. We name roads that where there are corresponding sidewalks that the town is assuming the responsibility to maintain.
And we can add or subtract to that list at any
Right.
time. So I mean, but I might be able to name those roads.
Yeah,
Yes.
or you might name it by area,
Yeah,
Right, yeah.
but
So-
some definition.
Yeah, some definition where we're not gonna plow this one, but we're gonna.
so I
plow
think
this.
we can probably scratch that off the list and come up with it as a and just have a discussion as a policy.
But we probably need to do that before the snow starts flying.
I mean, the snow hasn't even ended yet. I mean, you're talking about it coming back.
Well, so therefore we need it right now. You're not getting away, John, because what will happen is this will come through the town board, you're in the town board, so you're still going to.
Oh, yeah.
Talking about.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about it, yeah.
So then will other people on other streets with sidewalks, you think, come in and say, well, plow that one? Can't
course
we
they-
add to the
That's,
Yes.
I think we have to be very strategic.
And
I think we should do it just to
and
make
then
it
the
take a
town
look
board
at
would
it and
talk
say,
about
oh,
it,
we
say
take
yes
care
or
of
no. I
our
mean,
plan.
I think that's fair, you know what I mean?
We have
It's
to
like-
we have to be strategic and think of, I think, timing, recency, all of that goes into play.
I mean, we don't have a lot of
No.
road width.
And there's no liability on the town. And I
You
know that
you
one
can
for
say
certain.
they've lively, but that doesn't.
No,
mean you can't get
I know
sued.
for certain
Little
because
Cheshires, you
a
work
certain
with
code
it.
officer tried to
It
bring it
is,
up.
yes, it is. You are 100% right.
That is the orphan.
Okay, so
That's off the list.
that's off the list. We'll come back
Leave it
and
in policy.
review accessory dwelling units again in June. Oh, no, we said we didn't need to do that, right?
Just that one, the one attorney thing.
Yeah,
We're gonna look at. Oh, still
No, it's not gonna
public
come back to ordinance.
So we crossed out.
Just an
ADUs.
update, we can just say this is what he said about it.
I definitely wanna hear what Ned has to
Yeah,
say. I mean,
let's
yeah.
just address that in June. You come
Yeah.
back and let us know what he said. We'll talk about form-based code. Does anyone else see another priority on this list that we ought to be talking about? Personally, I think we ought to talk about ridgeline and shoreline guidelines. That's a delicate slope to
Wait.
tread, but
It's always a dilemma with enforcement. Both of those. And it's left to the discretion of the planning board. Are you wanting to codify it? It's a bitch to codify any more than it's difficult for the planning board to interpret. Each property is gonna be different. And can you make it tougher or looser? I guess what's your goal there?
let me express it from a concern
Okay.
rather than a goal. My concern is that some of the guidelines now are being interpreted as codes or ordinances. And that raises the question of whether some of those guidelines should be codes.
You're still gonna have a dilemma with interpretation.
I think too, that was gonna be a topic of our joint boards meetings. So maybe it gets resolved there and we don't have to
That's okay.
bring it up in ordinance, but
We'll see what the outcome of that is.
So we'll leave it on here so we don't lose it.
that could take up a whole meeting though, so we
Yeah.
may have to pay for more meetings.
Yeah,
I
well, we
think
also have another request. We have a proposal that I shared with you from them, so. About mapping. A land use mapping, but that's, yeah. We might need more meetings.
Two things that kind of go along for the next meeting, site design criteria should be back by then if I read the emails correctly.
Say that again, please.
Site design criteria,
Okay,
that should be back by then. Along with that is the discussion of do we want to take single family dwellings and their site plan approval out of planning and make it administrative. And so that's a discussion we gotta have to coincide with the site design criteria.
Yes.
Because it'll,
Cause that'll be a new code, and I think we just discussed that. Yes, we do. But once the site design criteria comes back, we'll be able to see how that would be incorporated and bring some sort of draft to ordinance to then make that final decision, if that's what we wanna do.
so in summary, if I think I heard this correctly, we believe the site design criteria will be in our hands before our June meeting.
at least the close to final draft.
Okay, so that being said, for our June meeting, to review the accessory dwelling unit modifications that Chris would do. We'll work on form-based code, and if we have time, I mean, form-based code might take the whole meeting, but if we have time left over, we can start the site design criteria.
If we get it back in time, 'cause I think I think,
Something.
yeah, but I think it was also due a couple weeks ago, but then they had to do something else to it. So if we get that back and with enough time
Yep.
for us to take a look at it, and then for me to see how to coincide a draft version of a code section that would then work with that for single family, and so then we can look at it in June.
Okay,
So I'll put it on there.
Yeah.
And then scrub it if we end up not getting it back in time to work on it.
So how do we prepare for form-based code discussion? Because that's enormous.
Yeah, so we're gonna have a draft.
Yeah.
So we've been going through it. We had a meeting, we gotta have another meeting to hopefully get through the rest of it. And we'll come to this committee with a draft of all the changes.
Can you send it to the committee before the meeting, right?
Yeah.
So we get-
Yeah, oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and we'll try to make it as simple as possible as far as what's out.
There's
what's
not a
in.
ton that,
No,
There's not a lot of nitpicking.
Can you
Yeah.
redline that the way that?
It's
one was
going,
done?
yeah, yes.
Because this one was not, the ADU one was not redlined, the way I got it,
No, because ADU is brand new,
yeah.
so there is nothing to.
Yeah, we can redline it and make sure. that
Well, you
we're
guys
good.
had, it was up there a different way than I had it.
you may not have your tracking on, maybe you don't have your track changes, I don't know.
I don't know,
So ADU was a brand new chapter, what you were seeing was changes
okay,
between John, myself and.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Editing the brand new chapter,
Yeah,
that's why there wasn't.
and from changes from the previous meeting to the March meeting. But yeah, no, we'll have a red line version of form-based code. So we'll just set our meeting here in the next week or two. Well, Sarah's gone this week, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
What aspects of the site design amendments changing?
A lot. A lot.
Well, there were certain people involved in the last revision, and I don't think this was included in this draft, so.
No, it was just department heads and staff. It's,
Is MRB involved?
they're
That's good.
involved as
Yes.
far as updating the design, so it was a lot of the engineering side of things. Jim's updates to coincide with their DOT regulations, my side for just what information we need that wasn't in there.
A lot of technical stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of technical stuff.
Substance.
Yeah.
Was in there.
We didn't
The-
maintain, yeah.
Yeah, the biggest like change in way we do things would be this whole single family housing.
so you can go for a planning or not? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and that obviously then that's where this board will come
May
in and
I
have
be
that
part of that
discussion.
discussion, please?
Chuck, what do you think about that?
Well, it'll come to this
I don't know
board.
anything about it.
So the-
It's gonna come to this
I
board,
like
so.
going to the
So
board.
it's not in the site design criteria.
Yeah, that, yeah.
It's in the site design criteria as in, we set out saying what projects need to go to PRC and what projects really don't need to go to PRC. And we're taking that as basically diving board to say, okay, the town board and other officials sought out to say, hey, do we need all single family to go to? They asked that question. So we're using these as basically jumping points to say, well, if we didn't want everything to go to planning board, we can utilize this process.
Terry,
So
you were on the planning board and you were on the town board when they decided to send all single family dwellings to the planning board. Do you remember what the thought process was back then?
No. I mean, there were questions of,
It was a new burden. I know that, but I think people were pleased with it.
and it was more of a, just having another 5 pair of eyes looking at what was going on rather
Plus,
than,
coordinated
because there were
referrals.
questions, and
Coordinated referrals,
Yeah.
maybe the referrals that are needed.
there were complaints of, not favoritism, but that, one situation was looked at differently than another. So to get some common ground, use the planning board, they're gonna look at it one way and,
And I think the staff might not have been as strong. back in the
no,
days.
no.
So
I mean, I can see where you have, like the situation you ran into, and there've been a few others of where, somebody gets approval, but then they wanna move the house 30 or 40 feet. And,
Yeah, Greg's
You
point
know.
was well taken.
you know,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
John
I
had
agree
the
with
same
that.
situation, so. You know, that should be administrative in my opinion. You don't need to, as long as the
All
gross.
the setbacks are met,
Yeah.
everything's met.
Yeah, the
Right.
gross basis, everything, nothing changes.
Right.
Yeah, administrative, you do it.
Yeah, so ultimately, I mean, there's some of these processes that are in there, and again, this is all going to be proposals that will come to this board to discuss and determine which direction you guys want to go. All right, and I suspect we'll have probably Lance present at this meeting once it's once they get it done and go through it all and. But yeah, you guys will have eyes on it before we finalize anything.
John, the only other thing, if I could add it to future topics, is New York State code updates. It won't be for another 2 to 3, possibly 4 months, but I did get notice that the changes are coming down the pipeline, which means we'll have to amend chapter 92. So just to keep it on our radar,
Yep.
I'm gonna have to do that.
We can,
So is single family home approval process separate from design criteria? It's the same conversation?
In
Or is
a
it
way,
two separate
if-
conversations?
So if we were to go through and have single family homes be administratively approved, the site design criteria would have to change to coincide with. Does that make sense? The site design criteria that's being presented to everyone
Doesn't have that.
doesn't have that in there. It has the processes, but it's not spelled out.
it has administrative processes that are being added, and it's not for all single family homes, but. In order to make it. So that. You know, again, if that's decided on to do whatever versions of single family homes don't need to go to planning board. That wouldn't need a code change. And then that code change would then coincide with the site design criteria procedures. Basically, it's like the policy and the procedures. The site design is the procedures. So the policy would have to be created through code. And then the site design would have those administrative procedures. So they're kind of all together. It's the same conversation.
Okay.
First responder exemption, we could remove that because that's been resolved. We went, I guess. The state just took too long to update their state code. Now they just came back to us and said, oh, actually, we did do it right because the state just didn't update their definitions yet, and apparently just recently did. So we're good now. We don't have to change that again.
All right, so for June, we're gonna do ADUs, form-based code, and if we have time, we'll start the site design criteria review,
If it's available.
if it's
If it's
available.
available and if there's time, because I suspect form-based code is gonna.
And the meeting is June 2nd, 9 o'clock here. And with that, I think we wrapped up for today, right? We are. Any other topics? Okay. We're done. Thank you.